Welcome to episode 159 of the Sports Marketing Machine podcast powered by Revelocity Sports, the podcast to help you sell more tickets and grow your fan base. I'm your host, Jeremy Neisser. Today we're going to talk about a polarizing topic, but I'm going to give you a little bit of some thoughts around how I got to this episode and why it's something worth even considering. Now, I'm not just throwing out an idea today. It's not a recommendation. It's not a hot take. It's just something to wrap your head around as we start continuing to move forward in selling more tickets to our games. This is just something I really think more teams should be thinking about. If you look at it right now, a lot of teams are moving to digital only for their tickets, which means that the only way fans get tickets is they either have to download the app or the tickets get emailed to them and they show their phone and get scanned at the gate when they're coming to the game, right? So they're digital tickets. The next step of this, if they're all digital tickets, what would happen if you got rid of your ticket office completely? Now, before you start throwing tomatoes at me and tell me I'm an absolute moron, stay with me. There would be no walk-up sales, no window. Everything is digital. I do know one team, specifically in minor league baseball, that did this, the Charleston River Dogs. They have already done this. So whether you agree with it or not, it is something worth talking through. So today we're going to talk about the considerations, the pros, the cons, because if you think about it, everything's going digital only. This may be the actual logical next step. So let's dig in. So today we're digging into this idea of, do we actually need a ticket office? I mean, like for walk-up sales, so single game walk-up sales, the window, if everything is moving towards digital. Because most teams haven't even considered this idea that I've kind of shared with you already today. The ticket office is just there. It's always been there. It's always how it's been done. Right? Ticketing platforms are continuing to evolve and to innovate to make it easier, or at least hopefully most of them, to sell more tickets online. The way people buy tickets now has dramatically changed in the last 5 to 10 years. In fact, this year, I'm talking minor league baseball only, they are forcing all fans to download the MLB app because that's where the tickets for your games will be. That is going to be absolutely annoying for a lot of people that need to do things a specific way to be able to enter it. Well, it's been working perfectly at Major League Baseball, but now they're implementing it for minor league baseball. So in the last 5 to 10 years, more and more teams have gone full digital tickets. We don't print tickets at all. To now to this idea, to this concept of even one team saying, we just don't have a ticket office. If you think about the ticket office, when you would do your on sale day 10 years ago, you'd say, hey, our on sale day for single game tickets is going to be whatever day it is, and people would line up. Now when you have your on sale day, how many people are actually in line and how many tickets are you selling online? The way people are buying has dramatically changed, is my point here. So instead of jumping to the we should or we shouldn't, I'm not jumping to that yet. I'm actually wanting to break down with you the pros, the cons, and when this actually may make sense for your organization. So let's start with the upside. You simplify the buying process. At the end of the day, you want to make it super simple for fans to go online to buy tickets. One path to purchase, one system, one process. Less confusing. And in all reality, some ticket offices and ticketing platforms make it a little bit more confusing, but in all reality, less confusing. One system, one path to purchase. No Should I call? Should I go to the window? Should I buy online? Like, we only sell tickets online. That's the only way you can buy tickets. That's it, right? It's simply go to the website, buy your tickets. That is it. You are reducing your staff and operational overhead so you don't have someone working the ticket window. The ticket offices aren't free, right? I mean, there's staff time, game day labor, training, management. 80 to 90% of your tickets, in many cases for a lot of teams, are sold online. Some it's probably 60 to 70%, but really getting closer and closer to that point. So what are you actually really paying for if most of your tickets are being sold online? What are you actually paying for? I mean, you don't really need the game day labor. You don't really need that massive amount of staff time. You really don't need someone answering the phone, taking orders over the phone if the only way to buy tickets is online. You can actually speed up the entry and the flow to your games. Scanning is faster, the lines move quicker, fewer bottlenecks at the window, especially with teams that struggle with the entry experience. This can really truly improve your game day experience. When you are selling them online, you're pushing fans to buy earlier. If fans know they can't just show up and buy at the window, they're more likely to buy in advance, plan, commit earlier, and for most teams, earlier purchases gives you a better chance to understand your fans that are coming to the game, so your crowd, which can help impact concessions and understanding your parking, better marketing decisions. Like, when you understand that earlier, the better. Another reason why you want to push people to the online sales is simply the data. Most teams that are selling tickets at the window don't collect the person's contact name and email address or what have you. Joe Fan walks up and says, hey, can I get 2 tickets to the night? Great. Where would you like to sit? I like to sit in this area. That sounds great. Here's my money. Here's my credit card. Buy it, and they walk away. You never collect their contact information. You don't get their zip code. You can't remarket to someone that walks up to the window or to buy a ticket for your game. In this case, you can. And now your database grows and you have the ability to remarket to get them to the game. So there are lots of great positives to push people towards this direction, to say, hey, you can't call me up and buy a single game ticket. You can't walk to the window on the day of a game and buy a ticket. You can't pop by during your lunch break to buy a ticket. So it's actually a convenience for fans to buy online versus coming in, calling, and what have you. The second thing I want to call out here, just from a personal experience, at least for my wife, she does not like to talk to people. Not that she doesn't like people, she doesn't like talking on the phone. So the more things she can do online to buy something, to do something, the better. And I think the logic of this is not necessarily the social anxiety side, but it's like we are working and doing things that make the most sense for the fans that are buying tickets. Now let's talk about the other side, the cons of completely pulling the plug of your ticket office. You risk losing spontaneous buyers. There will always be people who say, hey, what are we doing tonight? On Friday at 4:30, they're just talking to each other and they say, hey, what are we doing tonight? All right, let's go to the game. And buying becomes in this case, comes slightly harder. Oh, I can't just call in, or I have to go online and buy the tickets. Some of those people won't convert. Not all of them, but some of them. And for certain teams, that is meaningful revenue. Number 2 con about getting rid of your ticket office is you remove the human sales touch point. The ticket office isn't just transactional. They answer questions. They help with upsell. They problem solve. They give reassurance. They are there to help and be a layer of customer service for your fans, especially for season ticket holders who are trying to do exchanges, for groups, for first-time buyers, and especially the older audience where the digital side of things, they're not as quick with it as the younger generation. So when you remove that opportunity, that interaction, that 100% will impact conversions more than you would expect. If you're fully dependent on the digital experience, so if you go all in, there's nowhere to hide. Your website has to be fast, clear, mobile friendly, frictionless. You have to choose a ticketing platform that is quick, it's simple, and the process is really simple. If it's not, you've created a bottleneck instead of removing one here, right? Number 4 con with this is your game day issues become more visible. Tickets that don't load, emails that don't show up, phones of fans that die. Without a clear place to go, that frustration can build quickly, even though it's fixable. All of these, like phones die, and if you have the tickets on your phone, right, you can't do anything with it if a phone dies. You have to figure out a way to help them. Emails that don't show up, this happens. They go into the spam box. Like, we all know this from time and time again. But if you get rid of your ticket office, you don't have that ability to fix these things. When does this make sense? I know I led off this podcast episode by saying most teams, or a lot of teams, are moving to digital only on tickets, and heading in that direction totally makes sense that getting rid of the ticket office would be the next logical step. So let me talk through why or when this may be the most logical next step. When should you actually consider it? Not copying it, but just considering it. When the majority of your ticket sales are all digital. So if you look at your ticket sales, maybe for the football season or this hockey season, if 80 to 90% of those are online purchases, it becomes a real conversation. If you're not at the 80 to 90% mark, don't even consider getting rid of your ticket office. But if 80 to 90% of your tickets are being sold online, this is worth considering, truth be told here. Number 2, your demand is relatively strong. If you rely heavily on walk-ups and last-minute buyers, you need to truly think carefully about this decision, because if most of your games are already selling well in advance, the risk is lower. But if you always have a line of 100 people at your window every single game, they're last-minute buyers that are walking up just buying a ticket just to get in, like, you're really creating something that may not be worthwhile. Point 1 was 80 to 90% of your online purchases. If you're at that point, I think the risk is really minimal for you to make this switch. Number 3 consideration here is your digital buying experience is dialed in. And I mean it. This is a non-negotiable. If you've got a ticketing software and it takes 9 clicks to buy something, like, and you may have to kind of think through this a little bit more. You can't get rid of your ticketing software for one reason or another. Like, maybe you got to think through this a little bit differently. I know some sports teams, some hockey teams that have said, hey, instead of sending people to Ticketmaster to sell tickets, I'm going to send them through a different way to be able to buy tickets just to make it easier. I know 2 teams already that send them to Fivo or Spinzo for all of their offers. Single game tickets, for group tickets, for mini plans, for season, for everything. They send them there because the buying process, the experience is super simple. It eventually flows into Ticketmaster eventually, but thinking through that buying experience, if someone within 20 seconds or 30 seconds can't get tickets into their cart to be able to begin that buying process, right, you're not ready. Truth be told, you're simply not ready. So I applaud those teams that said, you know what, this buying experience means so much to me as the person who's helping sell more tickets to these games, that we're going to shift people and send everyone through Fivo or send everyone through Spinzo so that they're buying everything this way, and it's just a couple clicks, and it's a better user experience here than if I sent them to Ticketmaster or tickets.com. I applaud you for truly doing that, because when you made that decision, you thought to yourself, the best opportunity for me to sell more tickets, to get more people to my games, is to make it easier for my fans to do business with me. Now we're cooking, baby. Now we're cooking. I love it, right? I absolutely love it. But if you are not one of those teams that made that decision to really think through that buying experience and really truly having assessed it objectively, you're truly not ready. You're just not ready to make the jump to say, hey, I'm not going to have a ticket office. Number 4 consideration here, you need to plan for some on-site support. So even without a box office, you still need fans. Fans still need help. They absolutely still need help. There's always going to be a fan whose cell phone dies. There's always going to be a fan that couldn't find the email to their tickets. There's always going to be a fan that just simply won't know where to look to find the tickets, right? So giving them easy ways to purchase on site, even if it's digitally through an iPad, or you've got someone that can do a little bit of customer service to help them, right? You should always have that. You're not removing support. You're just changing how support looks. And I think that definitely changes things. You are supporting the digital only. You're not supporting a buy however you wished platform, which is how typically the ticket office works, where someone walks up and they tell you and they buy and what have you, right? So I love this idea of moving to no ticket office at all, but there are definitely things to think through as you're considering it. Even if you've never considering this. So here's where I want to land the plane on this one. I don't think every team should get rid of their ticket office. Not at all. I don't think every team should get rid of it. But I do think every team should ask, if we removed our ticket office, what would break? What problems would we see? We know the elderly fans, the season ticket holders, would complain. We know they would, or a certain few of those would complain. But the idea here is, if we looked at it and we really, really took some time and thought about it, what would actually break? Because the answers to that question, that's where your real opportunities are right there. Maybe you realize that your checkout is actually too slow right now. Your messaging isn't clear. You rely too much on the game day sales. Or maybe you realize that you're actually closer to getting rid of your ticket office before you even thought of it. You're actually closer to it more than you thought. Either way, this isn't copying about what one team's doing or another. This is understanding how your team sells tickets, but more importantly, understanding the buying experience of your fans and deciding what actually makes sense for your fans is the best decision that you can make. So if this topic has sparked conversation internally, send it to someone on your team. Talk through it. Consider this as an idea, because whether you keep your ticket office or not, the goal is the same. You need to make it as easy as possible for someone to say, yep, I'm coming to your game. And that, my friend, is where the real ticket sales growth happens. So if you found this episode valuable, please share it with someone who's just like you, trying to sell more tickets and grow their fan base. Or pop on over to Spotify or Apple and leave a rating or review. It would mean the world to me, but more importantly, it would get this podcast in front of people who are just like you, someone who is trying to get more people to their games. Until next time.